Okay, morning. Michelle in Ghana. Michelle in Accra, Ghana. I I didn't just get up. I got up fairly early. We're going to be treated to breakfast this morning before the taxi picks us up. But I wanted to share an experience that was extremely uncomfortable, and I get you guys' opinion of it as usual. I When we thought about coming for the business part of the visit, I was not a part of it. Right, so my daughter was thinking take a Ford bus, and for those who know, the Ford bus is what travel between, you know, it traverses between Cape Coast and Accra. 100 cities are here, and you're left at the station, of course. But from the station, you probably have to get a bold taxi to take you specific wherever you're going. So the idea behind me checking our taxi guy, the one we use regularly, was to just get off some of the stress, right? And then when you work out the fare, as usual, it's not too much more than, right? And his price though is kind of messing us up because he I think it's well, I guess it's fair to him because nobody would try to rob themselves. So when we asked him, his fare for just taking us to Accra and leaving us was 700, right? And I guess we'd have to pay a 700 for him to come back for us. If he's going to take us and there and to Accra and back home, he was charging 1,000. So sadly, he met in an accident recently. He sounds better when I checked up on him, but he was not sure when he was going to get his vehicle back. So we reached out to another taxi guy who was referred to us, and he was saying 1-2, but we said our previous driver, that by that time, at the time when I had this discussion with him, we were actually exploring using somebody else because we had used him in a situation prior to, and we were thinking of switching. So we were just checking to see if he was offering the same rate as our regular taxi. So I said to him, no, our driver is offering 1,000. So he said, okay, 1,000. And we had it at the back of our mind that if anything would switch. So when the accident happened and up until Monday, he wasn't sure he was going to get his car back. We said, okay, let's reach out to this one, since he had agreed that he just take 1,000. So we did that. I first gave him an instruction. I'm going to be at a friend's house. He's aware of the friend. He knows the friend. He knows we're living. I said, we're going to be at her house. Pick us up there. Do not come up to Lion of Judah, as I had said initially. I'm coming down into Ase, but I'm going to be at this friend. Just pick us up there 5 a.m. Tuesday morning. I asked if he should come to Lion of Judah. I said, no. We are going to be there. Pick us up there from her house. He say, okay, madam. When I got to my friend's house, my friend told me that he had called to say that he should pick her up before coming for us. So I'm realizing that this man just he doesn't have even a minimum grasp of English language. No matter how slow I spoke, no matter how I emphasized words or tried to, he didn't understand. She said because she knew and suspected that he missed something, she just said yes. She didn't bother to correct him. She said okay. So he came to collect her, and of course we were there. So we found out on the drive down, well, two things happened. One, the person my daughter was supposed to meet at the business, meetup, was probably thinking of not being there. They may not be there. But since we had already planned, we had gotten the fare and everything was arranged, we said, let us still go. and still come back, just walk around Accra Mall and so on, right? And if depends on how much more they would want to charge us, we may think of other places, but Accra Mall was a target. However, she was called and told that she was invited to stay overnight and she wanted to take the opportunity. So I said to the driver, how much is it to leave us, after we do what we're doing, leave us and pick us up Wednesday? He thought for a bit, then he said 1,500. Every time I get a price, I think, and I wonder if it's fair and all of that. So I did the same, and then I said I didn't have the 1.5. Dave was expecting to be paid, so I looked to her and she said okay, she would pay the 5. And we decided, okay. When we came into Accra, the driver took us. He came off the main and went into this plaza. You can see that plaza is spread out. And I saw the sign West Hills. So I was saying, this is not Accra Mall. But I thought because he realized you were, kind of sightseeing, getting familiar with, knowing the place, not really getting familiar, but, we were on an adventure. I thought that was one of the reasons why I stopped there. So we hadn't eaten any breakfast or anything. So we said, okay, we would, buy something. So hence, we stopped and got some food. We bought him something and then we left. We told him that we wanted to go to Accra Mall. But I was also thinking of checking a computer guy. But I was wondering how much that would, add on to. I still called the guy, spoke to him, and the guy spoke to the driver. And he was saying, okay, we'll go there first. Because based on, I guess, the conversation, he said we'd get there before Accra Mall. So we started off, right? Except we discovered that, one, the idea he said about going to the place first, he didn't. I wasn't sure why. I wasn't sure if it was in Accra Mall's direction. But we found out also that he didn't know where Accra Mall was. He couldn't follow the GPS nor anything. So we had to work it out between us and then get a location. And I, myself, Carissa, and I think even Davia gave some input into getting us to Accra Mall, which was our target, as I said. All right. But I was uncomfortable with the fact that it's obvious that when I was conversing with him there, it was missing something. Either he totally wasn't understanding us, and I definitely wasn't understanding him, because it's like he didn't know any English word. He repeated some phrases, but that was it. But anyway, it rested at the back of my mind. So we directed him to Accra Mall, and we went to Accra Mall and got some food. Our host wanted us to collect some Kentucky and then get there. And we did that. I told them not to stick around. I didn't leave the car. And they went, got the chicken and come back. And then he took us. It was a good drive though, to take us to where we were going to sleep. So when he left us, when I found a place, he left us. I gave him 800. Well, I told Carissa to give him 800 out of the 1.5. She gave him 9. But he just, I don't know, he looked uncertain. I was trying to get somebody to speak to him. Our host was trying to explain that he should come back for us and all of that. But I still felt he wasn't understanding a word. We didn't allow the Ghanaian to talk to him in his language. I just wasn't sure what to tell her to tell him. But it rested on my mind. So what I did was, when he came back, when I came inside and I settled down and everything, I said, you know what? So I called this Ghanaian that I know who has worked for me. He has been a go-between quite a number of times. And I called him and I explained the situation and I asked him to call the gentleman. Find out if he has 900, because he had called me when he drove off and said this is not all the money. So I said, when you collect us tomorrow, you will get the balance out of the 1.5. So I figured he'd be getting 700 cedis. Except when he said he had 9, I realized all I had been giving him was 600 cedis, right? So I told the guy, confirm that he has 900, confirm that he understands he's to come back for us. We'll give him the location where we pick us up, because we wouldn't have him come all the way out here where we ended up. We would either go to the mall, Accra Mall, or somewhere else where it's easier for him. And we were going to be having breakfast. We weren't sure where we were going to have the breakfast, but so he called me back to say the man was basically saying that he said 1,200 to just take us to here. I said, no, that's a lie. We said back and forth. He said, asked us if we were going to stay. I said no. He asked us if we were going to go back, and we said yes, we were going to. So that was the initial understanding. So it was 1, 2. He said 1. And because I only gave him a part and he did a lot of driving up, he was going to add, I think 1,000, because he said it's 2,200, or he wasn't coming back. No, I don't mind him stating that he's not coming back. It's the how he did it that was my problem. So he was trying to make this man understand that we didn't give him. He's like, he was making it sound as if we didn't give him the money that he said he was going to come here initially for, and it was only to come here that we had discussed. So I didn't bother with the argument. I just said, okay, tell him don't bother to come. The guy spoke to him, called me, and told me. He told him really and truly what he was trying to charge us at this point in time, because he knows we were here and, I guess maybe stranded. It was not justice. His word, not mine. It was not justice, and charging us 1, 2 to just leave us here is not justice. And he should not expect to get the rest of the 1.5 initially decided. So he got 900 just to take us here. Based on comments, I think one person in one of the videos I posted about Accra commented that the fare was, fair. It was a fair price. Hopefully that 900 was a fair price to drop us here. I don't want to rob anybody. I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable. I don't argue about money. I don't like doing that. I don't like to tear down people's price to make it an unfair deal either. I don't like feeling or anyone feeling that this is what I'm doing. But I also will not allow myself to be robbed or treated unfairly. And while I'm not sure what is a fair price totally, based on some of the comments about what, and since we got here to the discussions I've had with our host about it, and some of the prices she paid just to go to like Volta region, surrounding environment and so on, I guess 900 is, fair. Maybe not what I'd pay to come here, considering that my driver would have charged us 700 just to come and leave us. But everything is a learning curve, right? It was just very uncomfortable to be in that position. And if I had not asked the gentleman to call him and have a discussion, he would have just probably, because he didn't call us back or anything and say anything or try to get us to understand anything, he just probably had decided that he wasn't coming back, or decided that he was going to call and tell us 2,002 for him to come back, or the balance of 2,002. So it would have been an additional 1,000 something. Anyway, it's just another experience. I'm not fussy about it, moving on from it, but it was really weird and uncomfortable, and just another experience that I guess the language barrier facilitated part of it. And I'm not going to use what else I think, but just sharing here, not bashing anybody, not trying to tear down any systems, just sharing the experience and letting you know that personally I was very uncomfortable for a number of reasons. But it's just a day out of my regular day being in Accra. And I guess everybody by now would see the video where I say, and please, nobody tell me about, don't cuss me out about saying I'm an ape. The term is not alluding to the fact that white call blacks monkey and all of that. Please don't make it about race. I was thinking in terms of evolution, and basically just saying that I'm not evolution. What was the word I used with Chris? David laughed. I have not been evoluted, something like so. A word that I don't think is a word. But I'm not reached the point where I have become so industrialized that I'm comfortable still here. Even in North Carolina, the areas that I stuck to, I think I was really blessed with the school that I ended up teaching at, because Spring Lake was fairly quiet, and when I went into Fayetteville, that was my town thing, and I dashed. So we got really familiar with the areas, the hugeness of the place, the driving, the highways. It was really an experience. And I have been to Atlanta in Georgia, and Atlanta is no joke. So for those persons who every time I mention Atlanta, and I have had a conversation with this colleague of mine, she says, I hate Atlanta. And I can agree with her. But it would smack too much of Atlanta yesterday. And the same feeling I got when I drove into Atlanta for the first time is the same thing for Accra. But I couldn't take that kind of bustle for like daily, every day. And that's fine. Who can continue to, and all the best. We're heading home today, and we're going to enjoy the drive home. I made sure to mention this one speaks a little bit better English, because we did get another taxi driver, the same friend who referred the first one. In fact, she referred all three drivers that we worked recently. The one who met in an accident, the one who said he's not coming back, and this one who I explained that I want to make 2 stops. He said 1,000. I said I can't afford 1,000, and I'm going to make 2 stops probably. Still a computer place. He should pick us up at where we're going to be having breakfast. I think it's Rose Garden, and I'm going to stop and pick up some chickens. So I'm going to pick up some chickens from Kinza. So I made sure I mentioned those and told him that I only can afford 800, and he said okay. So I've given him the instructions on how to get to us, and then so see you in another video. Thank you for listening, and this is Michelle from Ghana, sharing my experiences. My mind went blank a while ago, right?